This isn't going to be pretty. You're likely watching this because your budget is a mess, if you even have one. Maybe you're to the point of pulling your hair out because nothing has been working. The good news is there is a way to fix it. Even if you're in a money mess, we're going to work it out. I'll pinpoint key areas where most people struggle and work through practical solutions with you. I'll help you budget your money by showing you how to change some of your habits. When you change your habits, your money will follow your lead. It's time for me to take off the nice guy gloves and slap down a little tough love. Follow your lead. Hey there, I'm Cameron from Triggator. I'm here to help you keep track of your money, save for the future, and pay off debt fast. If that's something you need in your life, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and get notified every time I put out a new video. Now, as far as fixing your budget, you might not like what I have to say, but don't take it personally. I want you to succeed. I want you to hit your financial goals and live your dream life where money is a non-issue. That said, here is one of my favorite sayings. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If you really want things to be different in your financial world, you need to take a look at what's broken and quit repeating the same broken process. Let's get started. Mistake number 1, thinking errors. Money problems start with thinking problems. You think you have enough money in your bank account to cover your bills. You think you deserve to have the latest model phone that costs $600 more than you can afford because even your 10-year-old neighbor has one. You think paying with a credit card is okay because you think you can afford a smaller payment and you think the rewards are worth it. You think someday things will get better when the next thing happens, like your next pay raise or your tax return that you're going to get. If any of these things are true for you, you need to change your thinking. Why it's a problem. Your thoughts dictate your actions. What you value most is reflected in how you spend your money. In other words, money behaves exactly the way you tell it to behave. If you don't tell it what to do or where to go, it will quickly get out of control. So how to fix it? First, you need to realize that you deserve better. You deserve the kind of life you would love to live, but no one is going to hand it to you. It takes work and planning. Decide that you are going to be in control of your money, not the other way around. Think first about what your money needs to do for you. Needs first, wants later. Shift your focus by setting financial goals that you want to achieve. Create a plan. This is a free printable that you can get access to from my website in the links below. I also recommend reading the book called Think and Grow Rich. Want to know the difference between super successful people and the average Joe who can never seem to get ahead? Your mind is an amazing thing. Napoleon Hill visited and interviewed dozens of millionaires to find out what made them so successful and put his research into this inspiring book. Mistake number 2, you believe that budgets are restrictive. Budgets get a bad rap. The word doesn't almost makes it into the naughty 4-letter word category. A frequent problem I hear from budget haters or even those who only use a budget as a guideline is they are thinking of all the things they can't do if they create a budget. Budgets are rigid. I can't go out to eat or spend on entertainment. I can't fit everything into my budget. I can't budget by month, so I need to do it by week. You get the idea. The truth is budgets can and should be very flexible and forgiving. You can do what you want with your money. Do you want to eat out? Go right ahead. Just make sure it doesn't conflict with your necessities. Plan your extra spending after you know you can pay all your bills and you can get ahead. Then it's no longer a burden. So why this is a problem? Another one of my favorite quotes sums this up. If you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. Here's how to fix it. Give a budget a test run. This means to give it an honest effort for at least 3 months. After 3 months, you'll discover what does and doesn't work for your family. This will also give you the time to streamline your budget so that it's working well and you get into the habit of tracking everything. Once you've worked out the kinks, you'll find a sense of relief in knowing where your money is going. You'll feel better about being able to pay for your bills on time and can be selective about where your discretionary spending is going. Mistake number 3, Nothing is written down. Tracking money in your head is not a good idea. Not writing out your budget means you're winging it. It would be an extremely rare talent to be able to remember every expense, especially variable and unexpected expenses. Periodically checking the bank balance on your account or your checkbook isn't good enough either. It gives a false sense of security. You need to know more than how much money you currently have. You need to know how much is going out and when. So why this is a problem? You'll likely forget some of your transactions or things that are coming up. Something is bound to sneak up and bite you in the rear. What? You didn't expect an alligator to sneak up and bite you? That thing that you forgot to write down on your budget is coming to get you. Can't remember what it is? Me neither. When you only check your bank balance, you're more likely to splurge on impulse buys and overspend. I like to call it unconscious spending. You know how it goes when something just jumps into your cart and you end up buying it when the money could have been used for a better purpose. So how to fix it? You need to create a system for tracking your money. Want to know why McDonald's, a multi-billion-dollar industry, can be run by a bunch of teenagers? Because there are systems in place. A system can make the difference between broke and thriving. This can be on paper, a computer spreadsheet, or you can use a budget app like Triggator. One benefit of using Triggator's budget app is you can link your bank account to your budget. This way you can get the satisfaction of marking off your spending and comparing your bank balance to what you still need to pay in your budget. Ultimately, you should use the method that you prefer and works best for you, because if you hate the method you're using, you'll probably quit. If you need help getting started with making a budget that works, take the From Busted to Balanced 5-day budget challenge, and it will help create a budget that practically runs itself. Check the links in the description for more information. Writing down a budget doesn't mean it's set in stone. Like I said before, you can allow yourself some flexibility. Let's say you planned your electric bill to be $100 or less, and then it was extra hot and you had to run the AC long. Your bill actually came out to $123. Uh-oh, is your budget busted? Not at all. Don't sweat it. You can always move money around. Shift money from other categories that are less important, like clothes or eating out, to pay the excess portion of your bill. Next, you'll need to reassess your budget to see if you need to make a permanent shift in your money, like if your electric company has permanently raised their rates. Mistake number 4, you're broke and behind. This isn't an easy fix. I know it's not. I've been there, but it can be done. I know it can because I've come back from an awful mess myself. You must start with where you're at. Get a clear and honest picture of your income and expenses. That means starting with a written budget. Then take an axe to your budget and start cutting back. If you can't afford all your expenses, something's got to go. Decide what's not necessary to live and start there. Food, rent, utilities, those are necessities. It dumbfounds me how many people try so hard to cut back on rent and utilities and groceries before they'll let go of cable and shoes and eating out. It might come to saving on groceries to save on your budget, but first cut out non-essential stuff where you don't need to survive with it. Also, dump your debt. Pay off debt as fast as humanly possible. I recommend watching this video next, where I paid off $80,000 in 4 years. Cut up your credit cards. If you want to get out of trouble, you can't keep relying on other people's money. You won't ever get ahead if you insist on staying behind. If you're broke, stop using them. You can use a debit card in place of a credit card. Negotiate your payoff terms. You do it. Don't hire a company to do it for you. That'll just cost you more money. Contact your creditors that you're behind with. Be honest with your situation and your ability to pay, or your lack of ability to pay. Let them know how much and how often you can pay them. Since you've put together a budget, you'll have a plan that you can put into action. Then stick to it. Honor your word. Lastly, increase your income. If you find there's more month than money, you need to get more money. There are lots of ways to do this: a new job, a second job, a side hustle, or selling stuff. My husband and I both lost our jobs close together, and my husband couldn't find real work, or in other words, a good paying job, for almost a year. Do you know what he did? He went and flipped burgers. Yes, a corporate man with a master's degree went and worked in the food industry. He told me he was not above flipping burgers if it helped to support his family and pay the bills. Do what it takes to earn enough money for your family. It might mean sacrifices, but if you can get ahead, it won't be forever. All of the cutting back and working extra will be temporary if you can get ahead and handle on your money. Mistake number 5, you overspend. I think to some extent everyone is guilty of this. I'm even guilty of this sometimes. It becomes a serious problem when you aren't tracking what you're spending and you run out of money before your next paycheck. That's called living paycheck to paycheck. Why it's a problem? Going a little over here and there is inevitable. So just make a miscellaneous category to cover those expenses or shift money from one category to another. Going over a lot all of the time is going to break your budget. So how to fix it? Identify your spending triggers and what you're overspending on. If you identify these triggers, you can train yourself to avoid them. Do you spend extra money when you're bored or stressed? Do you have a problem resisting the latest sale? Do you have a need to go out and eat a lot? You'll need to create a substitute for spending money. Decide in advance what you can do instead of shopping or spending money. Make a list. You might go for a walk or read a book for stress or boredom. You can learn to cook a fun cuisine at home instead of eating out, or unsubscribe from tempting email lists that tell you about sales every day. It will help if you create a budget for your favorite expenditures that you can afford. Give yourself a little grace and a little bit of spending cash so you don't feel like your budget is suffocating you and makes you want to quit. But past your small allowances, cut off any spending that overextends your budget. Shop with a list and stick to it. Anytime you go into the store, use cash that you have set aside from your budget. This forces you to keep track of your money, and if it runs out, you can't spend anymore. Get rid of your credit cards. You might think you can afford the payments, but those payments add up and it costs you a lot in interest. If you have a problem with overspending, credit cards are your enemy. I recently read a social media post where a person had gotten themselves into $32,000 of credit card debt without realizing it. They had spent a few $1,000s on each card, but they had 9 cards, and when they added it all together, they were shocked to see how much they had spent, and they had no idea what that $32,000 had went towards. Overspending can get out of control quickly when credit cards are involved. That brings me to mistake number 6, which is you're in debt. According to a report produced by the U.S. Federal Reserve, 77% of Americans have some type of debt. Average debts are reported to be over $58,000. Debt can eat away a lot of your paycheck. LendingTree reported the average monthly car payment to be $493 and the average credit card payment to be $244 a month. That doesn't include personal loans or other types of debt. That is over $700 of debt payments just for those two. The good news is, once debt is gone, you can have all of that money back into your budget. Hello vacation, paid for in cash, which is a double bonus. So why debt is a problem? Debt is costing you more than monthly payments. It's costing you interest and it's taking away from your paycheck. That money could be used to be bettering your life. It could also create impatient and devalue our stuff. Studies show that consumers who paid for an item with a credit card don't value that item as much as a consumer who paid with cash. There's a psychological attachment that makes you care more when you pay cash. How to fix it? Stop using credit cards until you can get caught up and get a good chunk of debt paid off. If you have a serious spending problem and can't help but swipe that card, cut it up. Save up to pay for things that you want in the future. Use the debt snowball method to pay off debt at superhuman speeds. You can watch this video next to find out more about the debt snowball. Mistake number 7, you don't plan ahead. What day is Christmas? Did you forget? Not likely. Then how is it that so many people are so unprepared for Christmas each year? And it's not just Christmas. I get that not everyone celebrates Christmas. How about your car registration? In case you forgot, there is a sticker on your license plate telling you when it's up for renewal. Have things like this ever thrown a wrench into your budget? I bet you could think of several other things, but probably not until they come up and then it's an oh crap moment. So why this is a problem? If you don't think ahead and start planning for those less frequent expenses, all your well-played plans are going to go straight out the window. Balancing your budget is a balancing act. How to fix it. My husband and I used money buckets to make sure we have money for everything we need, not just cash envelope categories. We pay for virtually everything using sinking funds. We call it money buckets because it works like a bucket brigade. We take a small amount of money from each paycheck and it's allocated to be used for less frequent expenses. We save up for Christmas and tires and maintenance for our car and vacations. We even account for smaller things like our Amazon Prime and Costco memberships. Then when the time comes, we have the money to pay for it and it doesn't interfere with anything in our regular budget. The concept of money buckets is a brilliant way to save. Use it to build up your savings account to pay for less frequent expenses. Save a small amount of money from each paycheck and build a nice savings that will help you pay for less frequent expenses. Mistake number 8, you don't have an emergency fund. A recent survey found that 61% of Americans don't have enough to pay a $1,000 unexpected expense. Many would have to rely on a generous family member or a credit card to cover that expense. An emergency fund is like insurance. It helps cover those things that happen in life that are unpredictable and unavoidable. Its sole purpose is to pay for true emergencies, not a flash sale or your favorite gizmo at the store. So why this is a problem, it's not a matter of if, but when the next emergency will arise. It's life. Emergencies happen to everyone. Being prepared is the difference between getting through or getting destroyed financially. It sucks no matter what, but having some money set aside makes it manageable. So how to fix it? Start small. Set a goal for $500, and when you get that, add another $500. $1,000 should be your minimum fund. Don't overwhelm yourself and try to save half your salary. If you use money from your fund, make it a priority to replenish that money. Restock your emergency fund before you pay extra on debt or splurge on discretionary spending. Avoid using credit cards if possible. If you have no other options, I wouldn't condemn you. Do what you need to do, but try and put your emergency fund together. It turns it into a long drawn out pain in the neck if you have to use a credit card. All said, it takes time to get your budget established and you must work on sticking to it. It'll need some massaging and ironing out, but once you've started living on a budget, you'll learn to love and rely on it and the peace of mind it provides. I've implemented the strategies that I've talked about in this video in my own finances and it has made all the difference. I love knowing that I have money when I need it. So good luck with your efforts, enjoy life more, worry about money less, and I will see you next time.